After completing the first step that consists into uh, the current situation, the general information on the GMP service levels. So let's go to the next step here, which is the second step that consists into setting targets and also planning for different activities. The targets will be the plans to achieve within the 10 years using the GMP sanitation service levels. From here, we will define different activities and their timing and also different subsidies applied. Let's go first on different household categories to be subsidized. Remember that we have different five wealth categories. The first one being the poorest and five being the richest. For our case in Rwanda, we know that category one that consists into the poorest is subdivided at 100%, and the richest they are not subdivided at all. So for the different sanitation service levels, remember that in the current situation we have been feeding the data from WASH MIS from the year 2022. This data came directly from our current situation in the first step. So all we will have to do, we will have to insert, remember, the target, the data in the light red cells only, these cells. So let's see different definitions. What do we understand by safely managed? So those safely managed, we use of those are the household that use improved facilities which are not shared with other household. And we know that at the end, the excreta are safely disposed in situ or transported to be treated off-site. So the at least basic level, those are for the households that use improved latrine without sharing them with other households. For limited, we know that those are households that are having improved sanitation level facilities, but again, that are shared between two or more households. Unimproved, those are pit latrines without slabs or without superstructures or hanging toilets or other bucket toilets. By open edification, you definitely understand that the human feces is disposed in fields, in bushes, in open bodies, or other different open spaces. So remember well that we already have our current situation. So we will need to set target. But for this case, we will set the target of at least basic level, limited level, unimproved, and open defecation. For the safely managed, it will automatically calculate itself while we will be setting targets of other different sanitation service levels. So for example, in Rurindo, we were having this data, and we will also have to check that these percentages, the total of this percentage will give us 100%. So for the year 2023, we will for the target we set that open defecation we will be having 0%, unimproved coming from 55 to 20%. These are the targets that the district people had been setting. So limited coming from 4% to 8%. You can wonder why it has been increasing, but from the analysis from the district planners, we saw that some households will come from unimproved to being limited. So that would make sense if the number of limited would increase. For the at least basic, the number will also increase. So we saw that the sum of these 78%, which directly give us 22% for the safely managed. We always have to make sure that the sum of all the service levels in percentages within a year should be 100%, like for this case. If it's not for the case, we will have to check our numbers again. So, what are the targets for 2024? We also have to set those targets, and going up to 2031. That will depend on the plans of the district planners. So we will see that for this case of Rwanda, the district planners has planned that in 2031 they will be having 0% of households with limited, unimproved and open defecation service levels, and having 15% of at least basic sanitation levels, directly leading us to 85% of safely managed sanitation facilities. So, after setting the target, this is a graph showing where we are coming from in 2022 up to 2031. You can see that there have been different changes after setting different targets. So we know that in 2031 we will be having 85% of safely managed and 15% of at least basic sanitation levels. This was the part of target setting. We are going to see which activities we can plan to help in achieving the set target in different sanitation levels. For this part, we will also use the percentages. If we go to the coverage, we will see if we have to cover the whole district or we will have to target the urban place, the peri-urban place, or the rural place. But for our case, the district planners has selected this activity to cover the whole district. Remember, we will be having to fill in the data in the light red cells only. So these are the set of activities that are already here. We already have them. We don't need to add. And the years of the activity implementation. So I have to make a note that for the CLTS program, these are for the open defecation, and the cash round creation, we also focus on open defecation. So we will not need to add anything on the above cells in blue, but we will only need to feed in the data in these light red cells. For example, this activity of training of masons on how to construct or to maintain latrines, we will be targeting the whole district, and from Rulindo planners, they have said that by 2022, we know that 20% of masons will be trained. By 2023, 50% of all the masons from the district will be trained, and then 2024 we will add 30 more. If you see the sum of these activity, we know that by 2024 all the masons will be equipped with technical skills on how to construct a latrine and how to maintain it or how to improve it. So these are also different activities that has been said, like linking household and sanitation entrepreneurs to financial institutions. Another activity we can say about is establishing district sanitation centers, building capacity of sanitation entrepreneurs to motivate them into investing in doing sanitation as business. So these are the set of activities and different targets of how to implement those activities within these 10 years. So you can see that this is the summary of different activities to be performed within different years. You see that in 2022, the activities will be these ones, focusing on CLTS promotion, cash round creation, training of mason, different activities showing at what extent the activities will be done. In 2023, 2024, so each year you will see at what extent each activity will be implemented. So if we continue on this path, where we will have to plan for fecal sludge management plant, its installation and also its management. So we will see that we will have to set at what percentage of households with at least basic sanitation where we will have to have a fecal sludge management plant built. So for the case of Rulindo, they wanted to build the FSM plant, fecal sludge management plant, when they will be having at least 80% of the household having at least basic sanitation levels. So remember we have to feed in the light red cells. Here we not have to feed in anything. So let me show you. If we have the 80%, as we are setting that we are at 80% of household having at least basic sanitation levels, we will be able to install an FSM plant. So that will automatically show us when to build the FSM plant. For this case, let's say this is 80%. Let's say by example that it's we will at 70%, we will need to build 70% of household having at least basic sanitation, we will need to build an FSM plant. So if we enter, it will directly show us when the plant needs to be built. So you see now it has been changed that the FSM plant should be built in 2024. But let's keep our 80. If we go to 80, we see directly that it's shifting. The FSM plant will need to be built in the 2026. If we go to 90% here, again, it will shift. Let's keep our 80 as the planners from Rwanda has said. So after the construction of this fecal sludge treatment plant in 2026, you will see that the operation in the maintenance